New York's newly appointed FDNY commissioner didn't waste any time getting down to business after being sworn in by Mayor Eric Adams. Robert Tucker visited firehouses all across the 5 boroughs and was there to send a very clear message.
While New York City's bravest fight fires inside burning buildings, my job will be to fight fires for them and the city from the outside. Firehouse culture has come under scrutiny. It is important to remember that a house needs to be just that, a home for everyone who signs up for this line of work. I will work to ensure our houses deliver the cultures and experience everyone deserves.
So Mr. Tucker comes from the private sector, but he's no stranger to the FDNY. Joining us this morning with reaction to the new commissioner is Andrew Ansbro. He's the president of the Uniformed Firefighters Association. So great to have you here, Andrew.
Thanks for having me this morning.
So big day. We knew this was coming with Laura Kavanaugh resigning. Right? There was going to be a swift action to get a new commissioner. Your thoughts on the pick?
Well, it's a great pick for the FDNY. He's got a lifelong love of the department. It's been reported that he worked in communications as an intern in the 80s. In Central Park. I think that's a great experience for him to have. Back when he was doing communications, we probably had a much bigger fire department. There was probably a few more dozen companies that were open. He's taken over the department, 30, 40 years later, where they've cut resources over the last 20 years, 30 years. Bloomberg closed 6 companies in 2003. They took staffing away in 2011. We're really trying to do a lot of extra work with a lot less hands, and I hope he can advocate for us to get more resources to the table. I think New Yorkers need it and deserve it.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at his resume. He also served as a member of the board of the FDNY Foundation, but again, he never served as a firefighter. So how's the membership taking to him? Do they think he was the right choice?
I think the membership is optimistic that what he's going to bring to the table is going to work for New York City firefighters. As I said, he had his first steps in the lower ranks with the dispatchers, and he's worked his way up through the ranks. He calls himself a buff, but he's always been involved in the fire department, so he understands the political aspect that he needs to bring to the table, and he's always been involved. And he was on the board of the FDNY Foundation, so he knows a lot of the people involved and the players involved. And hopefully he can, convince City Hall and City Council that we need more resources. Response times are through the roof, and there are aspects where we're getting to EMS runs a minute slower than we used to, and that equates to like a 7% increase in the loss of life. That's 2,000 people a year that are dying because we're not getting there the same speed we were 5 years ago. So engines typically get there first, and I'd like to speak to them about changing the response matrix and getting more staffing to have virtually more engines out there.
How important is it to have somebody who was a firefighter prior? There seems to be this issue with the previous commissioner, Laura Kavanaugh, that membership, or there was reporting that she didn't have firefighting experience, and here we are again with somebody who doesn't have it. Does it make a difference when it comes to the leadership?
Well, I think if he's not doing a good job, it's something they'll bring up. If he's doing a great job, no one's even going to mention it. Really, the results what matter, and we're optimistic that we're going to get great results.
Yesterday, the mayor, during the announcement, talked about fixing some of these houses from the inside out and putting out the flames within firehouses. What was he talking about?
Well, unfortunately, over the what they believe is the history of the fire department, but the integration of the fire department has been going on for some time. It's been a goal of mayors for the past several administrations to have the firehouses reflect more of the population of New York City. And there are claims that people aren't integrating that well. My answer would be you have to look at the firehouses where things are working out. I started 23 years ago in Harlem in a very diverse firehouse. One of my senior members was a female, and everyone got along great. And you really have to focus on where things are working instead of shining a spotlight on where things aren't.
Yeah, well, you heard Commissioner Tucker talking about the culture within the fire department. Do you feel like there is an issue? Do you think that there are problems with the culture within the fire department?
I don't believe so. I've never seen it. We are a family. It used to be called the Brotherhood. Now it's brothers and sisters. And brothers and sisters don't always get along. But at the end of the day, we rely on each other's lives to protect each other, and that's the way it should be. And unfortunately, we have incidents in firehouses that end up administratively or in hearings, and that's a problem for everybody.
The Vulcan Society has been very outspoken about racism and sexism within the department, and the mayor leaned on them heavily to pick Tucker as the commissioner, it almost seemed like he only went to the Vulcan side. Did he come to you and your organization, the UFA, and say, what do you guys think as well? Were you part of the conversation?
I would like to say I was, but this was a decision that they made entirely themselves. We were aware of some of the people involved, but I was aware that he was in. Commissioner Tucker was one of the names being floated around, and I had no issue with him being
Yeah, it was no secret that his name was out there.
Was my approval sought? No.
Okay. Is that typical when you go into the process that the Vulcans decide we would brought into the conversation, but you guys wouldn't, or vice versa?
I think if they're having a tough time making the decision, they'll try to get more people involved. But I believe this was an easy decision for them to make, and they sought Regina's guidance, which is she also was the head of the Vulcan Society, which is they brought the lawsuit against the city for the diversity hiring, and currently the FDNY is under federal monitor, so they sought her approval on it.
And just real quickly, what do you think that the top priority should be for Commissioner Tucker?
The top priority of the FDNY should be the top priority of the Commissioner, and that is to protect the lives and property of the citizens of the city of New York. And as I said earlier on, we need more resources. They've closed firehouses, taken staffing away. For the past 30 years, they've done nothing but strip resources from the FDNY, and it's imperative that he work with the city and the city council to bring more staffing and more rigs, more companies open to the fire department, or else we're not going to get the results that we expect. The runs keep coming in. The population of the city has gone up 2.5 million since they started cutting the FDNY, and you can't get the same results with less people and less rigs.
All right, Andrew Ansbro, appreciate your time this morning and getting your reaction on the commissioner pick. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.